Howdy folks, this is Billy with the Outdoors Missouri, and today I'm going to attempt to show you how we reload some Mosin Nagant rounds. And there's a couple of really important steps that I think that if you're just getting into reloading, just starting out, that you're really going to want to know before you actually do any reloading. So couple of things. The first thing, we're going to take a spent round with the primer all the way to a fully loaded bullet tonight. And I'm going to do several of them tonight because we're getting into deer season, so I want to get all this stuff done. But first thing you're going to need is like a reloading press and everything like that. I have a Lee, just a cheapo press. Works pretty good. Next thing you're going to need is some dies. You're going to need a primer pocket uniforming tool. There's a whole bunch of stuff that you need. But so something like that for the primer pocket. So let's try that for a little better angle. Okay, so you're going to start off with your shell holder, your decapping die. The way I do it, now there's a billion YouTube videos on how to do this, so I'm just showing you how I do it. So I go ahead and leave my press down, and I screw this down until it touches. Okay, and then I tighten this down right there. You can use a tool. A lot of times I don't really seem to need it. Put the shell in there. I like to put a little case loop because we are full length sizing, we're not just neck sizing. And that should pop out the primer and go ahead and form your brass. Okay, so let's see here, right there. So it smashes the neck, makes this diameter a little bit smaller, pops out the shell holder, or the primer. So we're only going to do a couple of these because I already have some pre-made. And I usually lube every other bullet because if you go any further than that, it seems like you run into problems. Now after you've sized a bunch of these, you might get your primer pocket uniformer and just give it a couple spins. Now this one doesn't, like I said, it doesn't even touch these, so they must have a different size. That works great in the 30-06 243, but then you can get one of these little cleaners, and this cleans out the inside of the primer pocket, gets all the powder burn. I'm sure you can't see that, but looks good. Now, I actually have a specific job for these, and I'm going to show you that in a little bit. But this is what's going to get our overall length, and I'm going to show you how we do that with. We're probably only going to use one. But the very next thing that I need to do is trim the brass. So now, some people, you can trim it every time, every other time. It doesn't matter. But the reason we trim it and the way it gets long is what you have inside of here is a contained explosion. So when this fires, it explodes and all the brass, kind of creeps forward and it ends up making the case a little bit longer. So we want to shorten that up to make sure that it's not too long so that it'll chamber properly. So we do that with not a sponsor, a trimmer. So that only comes with two pieces, so there's two other pieces that you need. This is one of them. This is got the thing for the 30-06. So we're just going to put this one in for the Mosin, and then we're going to chuck this up into the drill. There we go. That's nice. Try to get that as straight as possible. Okay. And then the cutter, which is right here. Should have another one. There it is. So you might, if you've used it a lot, just hit it with a wire brush or something like that. But then this screws on, and this is going to kind of be your depth gauge so that you can't overdo it. And I like to make that touch so you can kind of see that. So this has a specific diameter, and it's just small enough. Let's see what we got here. So 303, 302.5. So it's small enough to fit in the case even after it's been sized, because your diameter here should be around 311. The inside diameter. No, it's not. So it's 304.5. That's what I'm getting. This is after it's been sized, 305.5. So just a little bit smaller than a sized brass. I guess the diameter of the bullets are 311. So after we've sized them, I chuck it up in the drill, and then I'm just going to put this on here, and we're going to spin it, see what happens. Oh yeah, that took a lot off. So what that does is it shortens it to the right length. So you can see it's all nice and shiny. Now we're going to have a problem here because it's really square. So we're going to have a chamfering tool like this, and we're going to just give it a quick chamfer. And that's it. So there again, this is not an actual brass that I'm going to use, but at this time, I would tumble this. I'd throw it in the tumbler. So I already have some that are tumbled that haven't been sized because we've been waiting for the trimmer. Those are not going to get retumbled, but I'm going to go ahead and bust them out and get to trimming them. So, okay, YouTube. Now I went ahead and primed all these already. I kind of missed that. You got to hit the play button, right, or the record button. But basically, just using a primer ram setup and just stuffing them in there. No big deal. On to something more important. So what I want you to see is how I make this tool. Basically, I'm just going to cut a groove in here. But this is going to give us our case length. Not our case length, but our overall length for our bullet and everything. I'm going to show you how in just a second. But here we go. Let's put our safety glasses on so we don't get anything in our eye. No power. Okay, so it's not a science, but I try to cut in an angle. But what we want to do is we want to relieve the pressure so that way we can push a bullet in there and take it out really easily. And I think that's gonna do it. Yeah, that looks good. Not my best work, but definitely not bad. So I'm just gonna file this a little bit. Get some of the jagged parts out. Let's see this one. Okay, so we should be able to see the bullet in this and take it out pretty easily. Well, I wouldn't call it easily, but it'll do. Yeah, it'll do. We can get it out of there. So I am going to lubricate it a little bit though. So let's back out of this. So what we're going to do, essentially, is we're going to just seat this very so lightly real long like that. And then we're going to chamber it. Now there's no primer or anything, so I almost forgot to lubricate it. Okay, and we're going to chamber it. Just lay it in here gently. I'm going to feed this in slowly and easily. I'm going to push it down, let it cam the bullet in. So now it's nice and tight. Now we're going to take it out. And I recommend doing this between 3 and 5 times. And measure it and then average it out. So that's my recommendation. So we're going to measure this. We're going to do this a few more times. And then we will be back. Okay. I think I have the number I'm looking for. So we're going to go ahead and put the bullet seating die on. So don't forget to reclaim your shell holder. We're going to pull this guy off. And he lives to fight another day. You like my handle? Found that. That's off a bedpost. And, well, we weren't using it. And my handle always seemed a little too short. So that gives me the proper torque that I need to put on there, so that these bullets will take me seriously. Okay, so let me grab the seating die. Now there's one step you're going to take on this Mosin Nagant that you're not going to take on most others, is a crimping die that comes with it. So it comes with a full length, a seating die, and a crimping die. Now, I'm not exactly sure why it doesn't come with just a neck size. I imagine Mosin Nagant is not, you know, most people really aren't trying to reload those for the bench rest game. So I imagine that's why a huge amount of accuracy isn't required for Mosin Nagant. But that's what the die set we got came with. It's a Lee die set. Comes with a seating die, comes with a die to crimp it, which is really cool actually. I like it. Okay, so we're going to try to see if we can get the right depth here. It looks like somebody cranked it all the way down. So we're looking for somewhere in the ballpark of 2.90, which that didn't even touch it. It's pretty close. .990, right on the money, like it was meant to be there. And then we'll just pull that off. That's why we cut the groove. So now that we're ready for powder, because we're primed and ready for powder, I'm gonna go get our if you want to look up the video, you can. I did a review on this powder measure, and it works pretty good. I mean, it's not perfect by any means, but you're not paying for perfect. You're paying for close. And then we'll tickle that in there the rest of the way. I definitely don't mind doing that. This is sealed. Let me see if I have one that's already open. Hate to crack open a new batch if I got one open. There's almost nothing on this one. Some clay. Not it. Not it. Ooh, that's good stuff. Okay, so looks like we will be opening that H380. Now H380 is a ball type powder. I always give them a whiff. Smells kind of vinegary when it starts to decompose. But I'm going to see if I can show you what this stuff looks like. So I'm going to put this cap right here. I don't know if you can see that or not. But they're just little BBs. And that's what we're going to be using. Kind of like a BLC2 or something like that. There we go. So I'm just going to dump this in here. Not a whole lot there, but that's all right. Now, if you can avoid it, try not to reload with very little powder in your powder drop. You want to go ahead and fill it all the way up. That gives me the most consistent pour when I fill it up that way. So what you do is, what I like to do is just start pouring it out, dumping it back in, kind of get it worked in there. Extruded. Oh well. So there we go. So now we're going to start to weigh it. We're going to calibrate our scale. So that's the scale, and we're going to go ahead and calibrate this really quick. So we're going to calibrate it at 0. And it wants a 20. And the arrow's going to light up when it's stable. Hit the calibrate button again. Now it wants the 30 and the 20, which makes 50. And then it's stable. There we go. That means it's calibrated. And then zeroes out, and then I put this on top. And then we're going to hit 0. So now I'm going to do a couple pours for you. Now, you want to be real careful with how much you load in here. We worked up a load for this a few years ago. It works good for us. We're going to be using 45.5. That's going to get these rounds going really good. So that poured 42, so I'm going to pour another one for consistency. 42.1. I mean, 1/10 of a grain, guys. You're going to pay $300 for 1/10 of a grain. I'm not going to do it. So I said I wanted 45.5. I'm going to get a little heavier. Oh, don't hit the camera. 44.7. We're getting closer. Let's do another pour. I like to try to do them in at least 2, but sometimes 3, just to get an average. 44.7. So we're going to back it out just a little. $45.2, that's a pretty good pour. So now I'm going to get my powder measure kit. It's got a bunch of little handles in it. And I'm going to grab out the 0.5 cc dipper. Just a little tiny thing. Actually, I'll get the 0.3. It's small. Okay. So we're just going to get our little dipper. See that little thing? Yeah, you got to buy a kit to get one of those. Okay, we're just going to top her off at 45.5. Now you can buy a powder tickler, which is something that helps just put in a little green at a time. 45.5, that's right on the money. So now we're going to start reloading, or finishing these off. Alright, so went ahead and poured that in there, and now we're going to do another one. So we're just going to dump that in there. So we're looking for 45.5. Ooh, it's a little heavy. Okay. Just 45.2. Oh no, it's a little light. I'm sorry. We're going to take it in there. So that's right on the money. Oop. Too much. That's a smidge too much. The spherical powder is way easier to work with than the extruded powder. I'll give you that. So now we're going to move on to our next round here, just like that. We're going to dump this one in. Once you got them all loaded up with powder, go ahead and push the bullet on. That's a pretty sturdy crimp on there. Some crimp more than others, it seems like. I can feel them. You can't hardly see it though. You can just these little light indentions. That's it. But there you have it, guys. Mosin Nagant. Ready for deer season.